On to the other North London club, though, because league leaders Arsenal visit Ellen Road to face Leeds, hoping to bounce back from defeat last week and maintain their 4-point lead at the top of the table. Let's hear from the managers.
Especially at home at Ellen Road, we can deliver a performance and fight for points against each and every opponent in the world. And for that, yes, we will also go into this game with the necessary respect, and we know that we need probably an outstanding day to have a chance to win points against this outstanding Arsenal side. But we also know that we are capable to do this, and for that, we're also looking forward to have this game.
Our club has a long history, and to find a moment where in February we are in the position that we are is very difficult to find. So, guys, we are doing so many things so well, and let's focus mainly on that. And for sure, we want to improve, we want to be better in every area, but with that sense as well of self-confidence and conviction that we are in the right path.
There's a huge psychological aspect to this title race now. You've already used the B word, Tim, in terms of Arsenal. 3 Premier League games without a victory, and the title race is wide open. That they had a chance to go 8 clear, they had a chance to go 9 clear. It's not happened.
And it goes right back to what I said at the start of the show. The Champions League, they're flawless. They are top of that particular league ahead of Bayern Munich, but that league is not representative of their form in the Premier League, because in the Premier League, they've been terrific up to a point, and then they hit a juddering halt when they came up against a fragile Liverpool side, a Nottingham Forest side fighting against relegation, a Manchester United side that even their confidence was fragile, but they seem to have rediscovered their standards under Michael Carrick. And the interesting thing about this Arsenal side is that they led against Manchester United, and suddenly they were afraid of their own shadow. You know, it was all self-inflicted mistakes, and for my money that said a great deal about where they are. There is a lot of expectation and pressure and a belief that they will win the league, but I'm not sure they're coping with it that well.
Well, Tim, you've been in a title race before. You know exactly what it takes to get across the line. The truth is, many of these Arsenal players don't know. They've not been there before. They are remembering kind of what happened last season, the season before. What does it take from within the squad?
I mean, you look for guidance from your manager. We had that. You know, we was fortunate enough to have a manager who had won it multiple times as a player and as a manager. But, you know, I'll go back to this game. They were so dominant.
Before you do, you made a really good point about Kenny, Kenny Dalglish, when he was a manager, he sat back, let you guys take responsibility, right? I looked at this game, I saw Carrick with his arms behind his back, you know, just basically patrolling. He'd given the team talk, he let them players take control, and he was so serene on the touchline. And I saw Arteta, and he was all over the place. And I wasn't necessarily a big fan of the criticism he's had, because all managers, you see Pep Guardiola on the touchline, you see Klopp on the touchline, everyone is got histrionics. But I think you're right about the messages you send out with your energy on the touchline. Sorry, Tim.
Your demeanour is only right if you win the games. If you don't, then you should be the complete opposite. And I was going to that game, I was saying it's a Zubimendi pass where Saliba tries to play a 1-2 with him. I'm not sure where Saliba's deciding to run to. It's the first time I've seen him give the ball away all season. And it's 2 35-yard strikes. You know, they got battered, Man United, in the first half hour of that game. Arsenal were in total control. All right, they weren't creating too many chances and they have to rely on a set piece again. But it transpired against them. Luck wasn't with them. And I give Man United credit. They look a different side now. But then again, how's your luck again? If they play them a month ago out of Ruben Amorim, they played their reserves and they would have won 4-0. Now Michael's rejuvenated them, Man United. So it's the timing. It felt right, but let's have it right. It's a poor mistake. Gives it to, and Burmo is probably their best player at the moment. And 2 wonder strikes. Other than that, and then everything's wrong about Arsenal. That's why he's had that meeting this week. He said, look, calm down, boys. You know, don't listen to the outside noise. It's really hard not to, because boys are just on their phones all the time, just looking at what people are saying to them. As much as they say, no, we'll look after ourselves, no, that is the truth of it. They need to just dust themselves down, need to go out, they need to blow teams away, which they've got the personnel to be able to do that, and stop having all these games of anxiety. The advantage they got this weekend is they played first. It's crucial to play first. If they can go to Ellen Road and they can win, then the pressure's on Man City. The only thing is, not one Tottenham fan will want to win that game against Man City. Not one. Because the last thing the Tottenham fans want is Arsenal to win the Premier League.
Before we move on to the opponents and the hosts Leeds, I want to talk about the decisions that Mikel Arteta has to make up front. Because things have not been working there. They've been called set-piece FC. They really aren't creating much. We know Bukayo Saka hasn't scored in 13 games now. Kai Havertz is back. Does he start him? Does Gyökeres drop to the bench?
It's a good question, because one of the beauties of the 4-1 win over Almaty in midweek was that he was able to pay the B team. The A-listers had a rest. And that would have been crucial at this stage of the season. There are so many players who looked a little bit leggy before, even after last weekend, but now they've not had any Champions League football. And the emphatic nature of that win means that, as you say, he does have a few options for up front. Does he play Jesus? Does he go with Gyökeres? Does he go with Havertz as a false nine? And given that they're playing Leeds, one defeat in their last 11, and the momentum is with them, and they'll be fighting for their lives, only 6 points ahead of the drop zone, so they'll be at it at Ellen Road. You can't take this one for granted. I think you might go with Havertz.
Unbeaten in 5 at home Leeds. They have changed things since that shape change in the defence. They, as you mentioned, are on a roll.
Absolutely. Calvert-Lewin looks like he's scoring goals, staying in the width for the post. He's getting plenty of chances. Balls flying across the face of the box. They're going to have to defend well, Arsenal, to win this game, and I just believe they will. I think they've got too much firepower, even though they haven't scored from open play. You know, I listen to all this, but they're the second top scorers in the Premier League. I don't think you have to have a 15, 20 goal a season man to win the Premier League.
You don't, Tim, you don't. No. But if you think about the last, all of the attackers, I mean, Saka hasn't scored in 11 games. Martinelli, in the Premier League, you know, Martinelli hasn't scored, I think, 8-9 games in the Premier League. There are so many players. I think no one scored more than 5 goals in the Premier League all season. So I agree with you about the firepower that they have, but the way that they're playing isn't with as much freedom as, say, even what we saw from Manchester United last weekend. And that worries me. Some of the rival fans are basically saying they're set-piece FC, which is really unfair given how brilliant they have been so far this season. But the quality on paper isn't translating to that potency in attack that you would want them to have at this stage of the season.
You want Saka, obviously, he's having a dip, you know, but you still keep him. I think he's a superstar. Still keep him in the side. I maybe swap Odegaard for Eze. I would bring him into there. But if I'm walking around parading that trophy at the Emirates and I'm listening to people calling me set-piece FC, I'm really not bothered.
Fair point.
It don't matter. It don't matter how you got over the line, you just get over the line. We shared a few goals around our team, but we had a main man who scored 34 goals in our season, in Alan Shearer. But look, the most goals from set pieces, I would look at that as a positive. I wouldn't look at that as say, oh, I hope we score more goals from open play. Of course you do. You want to score. And I'll go back to it, whether it's Gyökeres, whether it's Jesus, whether it's Havertz playing up there. It's not the personnel. It's the way Arsenal play to create chances. You could put Erling Haaland up there and he wouldn't score more goals than them at the moment. It's the I'm telling you, it's the way they're playing. It's the way they build up to play games. So he could take the handbrake off him a little bit, but I think you change personnel to be able to do that. And taking the handbrake off is probably putting Martinelli with a bit of pace rather than Trossard on the left-hand side. He's got options to change it up. Trust the process.
And on that note, we're going to go to a break.
Moment is captain Martin Odegaard. Now take a look at this. Since Odegaard's exceptional season in 22-23, when he scored 15 and provided 7 assists, his numbers have been on a steady decline. So last season, Arsenal's captain scored 3 goals, provided 8 assists, which equaled a goal or an assist every 212 minutes. But this season, his numbers have dropped further with just 1 goal and 3 assists so far. Well, today, our reporter Dharma Sheth put those stats to Arteta.
Is there any part of you that's concerned, and is there any part of you that is thinking about maybe to take him out of the firing line a little bit and rest him?
So those are the numbers, but we have to give the full numbers as well, that he's played much less minutes than any other season as well, because he's been 3 times injured.
Where, you know, we're at the really important part of the season, Arsenal 4 points clear. He's not going to come out and say anything negative about his captain of the club, right?
Yeah.
And there's no doubting the guy's a phenomenal player. When he's on form, he's had stop-start career at Arsenal, certainly of late with all the injuries, but those numbers are concerning. And you look at the side that Arsenal have now, they are better. There are more outlets, there are more opportunities. A player with Odegaard's ability should be able to find more possibilities, create more chances for players.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest issue, I feel. I look at it and just go, what is wrong with him? What's happening? Where is he? How's he dropped off? Has he dropped off? Is he playing? Is he not? Are we not playing him in his ideal position anymore? So what ways can we get him to influence the game a bit more? And it's worrying when you think they're so much better and he's having even less of an influence.
Do you think though, when we look at that and you see the 22-23 season when Arsenal, all of a sudden looked like a title, challenging side, they were much more a transitional side at that point. It was like, I think it was 2 passes that kind of get to Odegaard. It was Zinchenko breaking that first line, then it was Xhaka straight to Odegaard. And he was in that transition. He had much more space. Do you think he might just be struggling with the fact that it is so much more congested in that box on those areas?
Possibly, but I think he has the skill set you would expect him to be able to deal with tight areas and the way that Arsenal are, they've been all season, you expect teams to drop off, play in a low block, try and squeeze out that space, probably pay him a little bit more attention, Odegaard, because he's so good.
Yeah.
But being that good means that you should be able to get out of those tight situations, create assists, create chances for yourself, score more goals.
Yeah.
So it probably is frustrating. I think Mark's point is a good one, whereas we don't actually know how he feels, Odegaard. His manager's come out, which is what the whole squad would want him to do, and back him publicly, of course. It's his captain. He knows exactly what Arteta wants on the pitch. But you feel for him a little bit because he doesn't look like he's enjoying his football at the minute.
Yeah, I know a moment ago, obviously, you said you might want to go more with Eze. Mm-hmm. Eze, obviously, he's got 4 Premier League goals. He's got 2 assists. He's played more minutes than Odegaard this season because Odegaard had his shoulder injury. If I were to tell you, right, because we looked this up, in less minutes, Martin Odegaard has got triple the chances created over Eze. Would that change your mind at all?
No.
Why?
No.
Surely that's what you want, though. You want those chances there.
When he scored that hat-trick, and I think he come out the starting 11 pretty quick after that, I was so surprised because you've got a player... It looks to me like a player that maybe was signed for the club that Arteta didn't particularly want himself. Right. That's how I see it. Because if you've got a player that we're talking about in Odegaard that's maybe struggling, and I know he's your captain, and normally the captain always plays, but you've got behind you someone like Eze.
It's a phenomenal player. Yeah.
Unbelievable player. Wants to get in that World Cup squad. You struggle. It's all right bringing him off the bench, but at some point you've got to go and say, listen, I'm going to give you a run of games. I'm going to give you 3 to 5 games. Show me what you can do. And I believe...
But he did.
Yeah,
well,
no, he did.
Odegaard was out,
but I don't think that when he did that, he played badly. I don't think. No, I think they'd score. I think they'd score more goals with Eze starting. That's my point. Over Odegaard. But fair play to. I like the fact that the manager's come out and backed his captain. That's important.
I'm a massive fan of Eze. I think most people are. I think he's such an exciting player, and the quality is there obvious for everyone. But the stat of creating more chances, Odegaard's involvement. I think for a team like Arsenal, who are in contention, obviously leading. They are at the moment in control of the Premier League title race. They need as many created chances as possible. So to have someone like Eze is something of an individual brilliance, can create something, but generally it's the individual brilliance that can dictate a game. That happens overall far too... not often enough for my liking. You want a player that is going to influence the game more often with chances created. And I think for me, for a team like Arsenal, with all the creativity and all the quality players they have around, they need more creativity. And if Odegaard's going to give you that, that for me has to go ahead of that one individual player.
Do you not think if we're talking about goals from open play, Odegaard's playing, maybe it's time. Maybe if he plays, if he has a run and he doesn't score, then okay, fair enough. But I know you said he played when Odegaard was injured. Yeah. But right now, I think if they're struggling a little bit to create goals, not chances, goals. Yeah. I think Eze might be the man for that.
But what's his job description? What is Odegaard's job description? What is his real role in this team? Yeah. It's creativity. Yes, scoring some goals, and he's had some great seasons there. But it's about creating opportunities for his teammates, and if they're not then finishing, that's another issue.
Yeah,
right?
No, of course. Yeah, so you get the situation where his argument might be, I'm producing, and they're not.
No one's
putting
finishing.
It in the net. Yeah. Well, you go and score then.
Yeah,
that's it.
You're Odegaard, go and score.
But depending on where he is, if he's sitting a bit deeper, which he's in midfield, that is a little bit more difficult when you've got players and the setup that Arsenal have. I feel it's a little bit sometimes like they've got great wingers, but sometimes a little bit too selfish. Yeah. Gyökeres is still trying to find his feet. Like I said before, Havertz back, I think that could be.
They've got a great
moment.
relationship between the two.
I think that's
of them.
that moment. They could be a big difference. And I think the next couple of weeks is really, I mean, obviously, stating the obvious, really important. And it's going to be interesting to see how this transitions. What does Mikel Arteta do with these players? How does he integrate? How does he put a side together that is not necessarily, I don't agree necessarily, put a player in the team and give him 3-4 games because you've got to see what he can do.
Yeah.
You've got to know what they can do, and they've got to hit the ground running because they're running out of time otherwise.
Listen, I love it. We've got a big debate on our hands already.